All right, here we go again. So this is what really happened. Kind of going back some years, there were blips in the Southwest United States telling people to get out. And again, when you get a blip, you get out because you're afraid. I was in Santa Fe, and the cartels were running everything. Wealthy people may not see it as much and be protected a little bit, but things have changed. And again, I was looking at the Tucson, little city, sleepy town, whatever it is they were saying. The Guthries had Savannah's homecoming to Arizona. Well, the idea is this: being wealthy, they were a little bit insulated, but they should have received a blip. Now, as far as where they would go, again, Mrs. Guthrie probably needed some warmth, so going up to Flagstaff may not have been plausible. But I'd say that's the distance you want. Um, Again, when she moved in the 70s, you had some, marijuana smugglers, cannabis smugglers. They weren't looking to take anybody out. They're looking to make money. They were actually probably returning some funds back into Mexico for the revolution. And then you had real migrant farmers. They ain't looking to be a predator in any way, shape, or form. Right? Just trying to get their little piece of whatever and make a few dollars. Right? Again, these people, the way they act, you can tell they're not the immigrants that you used to come across. And acting like they're mad because it is mad that they got no right to be mad. They need to go. Everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody knows what they're doing with the Democrats. And there are Republicans also. I told you that, and they showed up. They converted the entire nation into criminal funds and a criminal enterprise. They're strong arming. There's racketeering in every community, just about in the United States, every immigrant community for sure. The boss tells them what to do and what not to do, which includes hate the white people and hate the black people. We're not here to play games. Democrats want to play games where they flip the script all day. That's bullshit. So the Guthries needed to get out of there a long time ago. And this is where it broke. They should have received the blip. I looked at a couple homes down by the border. I mean, it's enchanting. The downturn hit. I was talking to my mother. I said, "Why don't we move over to Las Cruces?" I think it was. Again, Las Cruces is, I think, even safer than Tucson. Like you said, you get a house for the price of your condo here in Naples, a beautiful house, and probably actually even though it's in Las Cruces, it's probably worth twice as much as I told her to buy. By about 10. Yeah, I guess it was about 14 years at this point, but it probably would have skyrocketed sooner, like 5 years ago. But again, when I got to the location and I looked at a couple places, I said, nah. I mean, I was looking like during the downturn, I was looking at Phoenix, Maricopa County. I don't know if it was exactly Phoenix or not, but it said no. It said, you can't live there. And Santa Fe was probably better than as far as Maricopa County and Tucson. And it was taken over by the cartels by the time I left. Were already there when I got there, but they increased their presence. So again, that was the only thing that would have saved her probably because if you would have. So the idea is, well, what if they would have put a better security system in? It could be carjacked. I mean, Tucson's like one of the carjacking cities. Phoenix is a carjacking city. And I know she feels insulated in the suburbs, but not anymore. Now, again, it doesn't have to be the cartels for it to be the cartels that caused it. Because again, that lawlessness Also recruits Americans. Again, narcotics use, narcotics distribution, gang banging. It all increases when that lawlessness increases. Right? Like Nancy knows in the 70s, she didn't have to worry about being kidnapped. In the 80s, she didn't have to worry about being kidnapped. Probably didn't even have to worry about it in the 90s, but around 2005, it started shifting. And by the time 2015 hit, 2014, 15, it was it. They're not good people. You're not going to convince me. I mean, I took care of a bunch of them. I did the best I could to help out in those communities I was in, but they were bad people. And again, money laundering is a big part of it. And then fraudster, public assistance fraud and all of that, like major. You haven't even found anything yet. It's entrenched in every community in the United States. If you went with the cartel, then you don't get nothing. Again, people I worked with, I'm sure they were with whatever criminal entity told them, you do what we say you get. If you don't, you're out like Larry and Luna. It's just so strange. Everybody jumps on what I say like 3 to 10 years later, and they're the heroes. I was the one who was talking about the Chinese under Bush. I said, what happened? Now, again, eventually we had to accept the Chinese because we couldn't afford anything else. Right. Well, because everybody said, the Clinton, Chinese. About 2004 or 5, I said, I walk into Walmart, there's more Chinese stuff in there now than there was under Clinton. What the hell's going on? But you all made money off of it. And then like 10 years later, you're like, oh, Chinese are bad, bad. You all invested in Chinese businesses. Everybody knows that. Not going to talk about it, but they know that. All these, because when they go anti-Chinese, now what do? You take their businesses back. You go, now it's mine. So again, that list in the Epstein file is a BS list. Those are mainly just wealthy. Most of them are just wealthy people that happen to be around Epstein, and some apparently weren't even around Epstein. They were just in that file, and nothing's been corroborated in court. I don't believe emails. You don't believe they can make fake emails and lie about it all day? They already showed me what they can do. I think it's funny because you won't listen to me or you can't hear me, one or the other. They just keep showing it to me, right? Maybe I'm not supposed to figure it out. I don't know. There's Epstein's all over Europe. That's the scam. I told you for years. That's what the Epsteins hire PIs like the Weinstein spies to attack everybody else to keep themselves from being investigated. There could be spies creating issues in the Guthrie investigation, covering over. You may have found them if one for whatever a spy is doing to hide the person, or it could be a spy for all you know. And when I say spy, that means government or private sector, or foreign and or domestic. The glove's not making sense unless he stopped for some reason and they fell out. I don't know if you have tire tracks over there anymore. Unless he was just walking. I mean, again, I don't know if we have a vehicle or not. I haven't heard of one. I don't know how heavy Nancy was. She looked like a shorter person. So again, we have to start a security. I speak about it every so many years. Again, you have to the traffic cam program and the personal security program help educate people on how to set those security systems up. Again, a major professional can block them, but I don't think this guy was doing anything other than grabbing them down and beating them to a pulp or whatever he did. Somebody's saying that it didn't make sense that his backpack was full. And it sounds like somebody from the other side, not from cops, somebody that's in the criminal world that does these kind of things. Let's see, another change of clothes, or even, even like a body bag that he put her in or something, something to put her in, like who knows? So people wouldn't see what he was carrying. But again, it could have just been somebody going in there looking for some cash or a ATM hit. And for all we know, she could have been dead before they got to the ATM. But again, theoretically, there's no vehicle. That's the weird part. I mean, he didn't show up in a vehicle, and apparently, no vehicle came up on camera. As far as unless you have tire tracks, that would see again stuff like that. If you have tire tracks and you match it to, the backpack and the holster and the pistola, it's got to hit on somebody. The jacket, unless he bought it somewhere outside the regular market, even maybe Mexico. Who knows? Just do they sell that backpack in Mexico, or are you looking worldwide? Could be worldwide, I guess. At this point, it could be a Romanian, right? May seem to be going for the credit card fraud, but you never know. And again, the guy that just got busted by the Secret Service, he looks Latino a little bit. He's probably Tsigan. It's a bad word to use, I guess, but they're gypsies. Gypsies are darker skins. So he could be a gypsy. My father used to call me Tsigan all the time. Myself, he's like, he's a jerk. He's insulting me. And he knew I was a king. This is the weird part. He saw stuff. I saw nothing. Because he used to call me king of the shit heap. Because he was mad I was a king. I never said I was a king until I woke up. I didn't even think anything like that existed. I mean, I heard in the Jewish faith that there's kings. I tried to explain that to my ex-wife right before we split. I was like, okay, we're being attacked because essentially, spiritually, you're a queen and I'm a king. And I don't know if she got it. And then I started looking at her and she's doing shit with her fingers and her hands. And I'm like, she's like a witch. It was weird. I don't even know if she knew she did. I didn't say anything about that. If we were around together longer, I would explain. I'd say, "What are you doing with your hands?" She may not have noticed it like me, because somebody told me that before I woke up. Now they didn't say it like that, but they said your hand gestures. My wife used to do some hand gestures. It looked like magic to me, but I didn't see it till I woke up. We were already separated. So again, the deep state tries to act like I left my wife. It's like I had to get away from her. I got away from her. I gave her the option of getting back together. She chose not to. And of course, Slickster and Little Girl were part of that. Shelton and Henry, government employees that should have went to prison before I even got there. So I wouldn't have to deal with it. You all definitely don't deal with it. So yeah, they missed their blip. Anybody with that much money should have received a blip to move on. Unless you were Latino and had to connect. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. They got connects with cartels. They're safe down there. You're a white rich person, you're meat. She should have got the blip to at least move into a gated community. I understand they do burglaries in the gated communities, but I doubt they're going to do what they did there. There's no way that she should have been outside of a gated community. But again, you drive the streets, you get carjacked. She should have actually moved to a smaller house. So she should have, it's sentimental for her, I guess, but she should have got a smaller house in a gated community, and she'd have been fine. So we have to start speaking up about that as the government. You should get in touch with whoever's down there that does that, the SACs, whatever the community officers are down there, from DHS, FBI, Marshal Service. You start communicating to the community and letting them know what the security requirements are, what's a good system, what's a bad system, what are the capabilities. Can somebody actually still get in there and not be seen? And the answer is yes. And then you have to reimagine your security plan, your traffic cams, your plate readers. People like Brennan have connections that can mess up your investigation. They're just pieces of shit because that's what they do in the government. I told you before. If I would try to do work, they try to mess it up. They've been trained in this for decades, right? Including those scumbags on the street that call themselves anti-ICE. Bunch of narco supporting fraudsters. Scumbags. The original scumbags are out there. How do they survive? Where does their money come from? That's material support of terrorism. They're not protesters. These are advanced psychological methods that militaries and spies use to cause what they're causing. The shootings, if they turn out to be a confused shooting, that's what that stuff does. I've been speaking about it for years. If the officers' reports came out screwy, of course they have people blowing whistles at them, beeping horns all day long while they got their game mind on because they're trying to find somebody that could try to shoot them. Then it turns out Preddy's carrying a gun. He shouldn't have any gun. What the hell's he got a gun? He's not a protester. It wasn't lawful carry. They're still trying to say it's lawful carry. That's probably why it's so expensive in them Democrat states. All the narcotic money. and all the sex trafficking money and all the fraudster money. They walk into Best Buy, buy name brand, buy the 15 packages on top of that on the the 90-inch television. They don't give a shit. It's not real money. To them, it's funny money. Your daughters and your sons are dying for what they buy those big screens for. And Krasner. Everybody knows that the people dealing dope in Kensington, where it comes from, are the immigrants. Everybody knows that. Lives ruined for decades because of these scumbags. I was figuring somebody under DNI would be able to figure those emails out. Got him to send another one. That's what I wanted. But I guess that could still be figured out. If he's not the kidnapper, right? Not a big. They could be sitting in the middle of, like you said, Romania, Russia, China. Could be a Chinese intelligence officer laughing, right? Somebody's projecting who's got the Luna money. The people that killed him, of course. I mean, you can't figure that out? Either psychological murder where he killed himself or they physically killed him, one or the other. Those are the people that have the money and they had a party with it, I'm sure of it. The idea of the missing money was just to get into the community and kill people. Psycho bitches and psycho bastards. I wonder how many of them are LDS, how many of them are Sikhs, how many Hare Krishnas. See, who else along the way? What other religion was a scumbag? Fake religion. Absolutely fake. I don't know how many of them turned up as sex cults and worse. And they're connected to the government. Government set them on me. Isn't that nice? I think the retail theft people can find something out if you can't find anything out. I think there's actually people that are like, I don't know if there's informants or who they are, but it looks like they have some information about something and maybe those items. There's crooks that have information, but they're afraid to come forward. That's what I believe. So that might indicate that this person's connected to something. And again, Okay, so they're not sure. Okay, they're afraid, but they're also not sure. That's what the psychic blip is. Because it's a masked person. But that isn't everybody. That's just that one channel that I was able to connect into. There's people that still are not coming forward. You have to make you have to tell them you'll protect people. You have to tell them that you're going to protect people if they come forward. Tell them not to be afraid, that you will protect them. Okay, some are immigrants, maybe. I don't know what to tell you. Again, I always would say, don't be afraid to come forward. We've got you. We'll protect you if you come forward and you tell us who it is, and it turns out to be that person. We'll protect you. We'll also, if you're a non-citizen, then we got you covered. Again, there's people that aren't going to come forward because they're going to think you're going to deport them. So again, you need to put it out there where you're going to protect these people. And also, the person that says they're going to give up the kidnapper might. I was thinking it's just a last ditch effort, based upon the fact that Nancy's expired. Right? Because because essentially the hint, or not hinting, but the inference is he doesn't have to show you proof of life, but he's saying that he knows Nancy's condition. Then that person could show you, go in there and get a quick picture. If he can see Nancy, then he can get a quick photo, or she, whoever it is. I think it's bullshit. They said they had hints about Nancy's condition. At that point, it doesn't sound like somebody who knows who did it unless they're living with that person. And then, of course, they can get a photo of Nancy. I mean, if that person, let's see again, it's probably going to be some bullshit. Oh, I can't do that because they're watching her. And of course, what's that guy's name? Comey and Brennan and all their buddies are in the news trying to F you. And they're metaphysically, I know for a fact that they're metaphysically cursing you not to find Guthrie, Mrs. Guthrie, Nancy. I guarantee people like Brennan, people like Comey, they are effing your entire operation with their devil powers and really anti powers. That's how sick they are. They do it in the government all the time. Agents working on a case, they want to kill the agent, they kill the case. They say, oh, what are you doing? You can't do your case.